And good afternoon, everyone. I guess I have no pressure. I get to follow a 4-star, a 3-star, and a picture of Godzilla. So no pressure at all today. General Brown, General Usasa, General Riki, previously mentioned Lieutenant Generals, fellow general officers, and distinguished guests, I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address you today. It is truly, truly my honor. Yesterday, I had the great privilege of visiting the Fuji School and the Fuji Training Center. And I must admit, I was extremely impressed with the leadership, and more importantly, as a military, as a soldier, the training that was taking place, to include their Urban Operations Center, which will indeed, in this case, they were training some snipers yesterday. But this will indeed continue to prepare the Army to assist along with the civilian partners in any megacity disaster, if there should be one in the future. As I prepared for this visit, I was impressed with how well Tokyo integrates robotics, sensor technology, machine learning, and autonomy within its infrastructure. It was very clear I can see why Japan is one of the world's leaders in robotics production. And I also realize now, more personally, why conducting conferences like this one are critical to the preparation of our future. So let's imagine a world enabled by artificial intelligence. Just think about that for a little while. I would offer up that we have boundless opportunities with artificial intelligence and robotics. In a city such as this one and others, artificial intelligence could help with some simple problems, I would say, such as traffic management, climate monitoring, security, electricity management, grid squares, power squares, and of course other areas. Reading a recent article, a concept that I found particularly exciting is that of using artificial intelligence for disaster relief planning. In this article, it addressed coordination between the U.S. and Singapore and collaborating on developing artificial intelligence to be used as a tool for humanitarian aid and disaster relief. This effort would use artificial intelligence as a simple tool. The images of crippled landscapes following an earthquake, damage from hurricane-force winds, and other factors would be used to better assess the scope for disasters, thus improving, one aspect anyway, improving first responder response and reconstruction. And this is in an article written by Dr. Jackson Barnett. Now, of course, I'm in the military, artificial intelligence could help with analyzing piles and piles and hours of data and intelligence much, much faster than we could today. It could help with problem areas of personnel management, developing streamlined systems that make us see things and decide a little faster. And in conjunction with robotic enablers, artificial intelligence could help us perform tasks that ultimately could save soldiers and civilians' lives, which is a great thing. And although, as you may agree, artificial intelligence has application in an urban city environment, I would offer that it also has great promise in the military as well. Success in a future complex environment, I won't call it winning wars in this case for this audience, but success in a future complex environment will depend on adaptive leaders, skilled soldiers of all services, and well-trained, integrated teams empowered with advanced technologies. The integration of technologies such as artificial intelligence, partnered with robotics and autonomy, will help all armies and military forces defeat organizations, control terrain, secure populations, and consolidate gains in an environment characterized by varying terrain, adversaries that have advanced technologies and easy proliferation, and threats that we will all face, kinetic and non-kinetic, across the domains of ground, air, sea, cyber, the information and electronic spectrum, in simple terms, multi-domain threats, which require a military, in this case an army, partner with the joint force that, along with other sister services and our coalition partners, will conduct multi-domain operations as referred to yesterday in my travels, cross-domain maneuver, cross-domain operations. Ladies and gentlemen, today my focus will be to briefly discuss the U.S. Army strategies, equal by many partners here as well, for artificial intelligence and robotics. Then briefly describe the potential impacts their integration will have in conducting operations in a multi-domain environment, and in this case, megacity or an urban environment. Next slide, please. Artificial intelligence, and generally speaking, a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior in computers, more commonly referred to and often discussed as machine learning. And doing some recent studies, I've seen that the advances in artificial intelligence will, and can, quite frankly, and in many cases have, fundamentally changed how an army, how a military can operate, regardless of the environment. And General Brown showed a few examples of the synthetic training enablers and capabilities that are already been introduced and already making us better. When artificial intelligence, I would offer, is fully integrated into formations, in this case I'll use the example of tactical formations, but I'm sure you can visualize how that cascades up to operational and strategic as well. Artificial intelligence can revolutionize how we fight, kinetically, non-kinetically, by increasing speed and execution, decision-making, and thinking, while most importantly, decreasing, if not eliminating, risk for all of us. And I would extend that to military and civilian employees, emergency services as well. Now let's imagine a battlefield where this really does apply to a megacity. Collateral damage and casualties are reduced or even avoided. And better yet, let's imagine a scenario where conflict is completely deterred due to an overmatch an artificial intelligence enhanced military provides. A game changer, and again, that can be applied to civic infrastructure, police, emergency services, firemen as well. Similarly, I would offer up artificial intelligence could improve the speed and increase the performance and efficiency of intelligence collection and processing, predictive analysis, maintenance, logistics, and human resource decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, that would apply to both the military and, as mentioned earlier, our civic infrastructure as well, which is extremely important in reacting to any disaster that we may have in a city. Furthermore, artificial intelligence can reduce the cognitive load on soldiers and leaders on any battlefield environment. And this can be done through the enhanced analytics, decision-making assistance, and empowering and bettering situational awareness. Additionally, artificial intelligence capabilities could have immediate applications and functions where having a system that can sense, process, and in some cases take autonomous actions that can disrupt and exploit adversary systems much faster than humans alone could do. Next slide, please. A bit of a shift to talk on robotics and autonomous systems. And in this case, I'll define it as autonomy as a level of independence that humans are grant a system to execute a given task in any stated environment, so that can be tailored to the specific environment. And I would offer up, and your military does a superb job on this, as do many civilian organizations as well. Investments in robotics could help ensure that civil authorities in the military can address three compelling challenges. First, the challenge of increased speed of adversary or natural disaster actions, including standoff and reaction time. Challenge of increased use of robotics and autonomy by the adversaries that we face. An increased congestion, and many of the pictures that we saw earlier that really illustrated this well. Increased congestion in dense urban environments, where communications will be stretched to breaking point, if possible at all. I saw a good example of this in some of the subterranean training tunnels that I looked at in the urban environment, which were quite well laid out and clearly highlighted the challenges of being able to communicate just another 50 meters, nonetheless, several kilometers. In an effort to combat these challenges, our military robotic strategies, I would offer up, should work towards 5 capability objectives. First, increase situational awareness for the warfighter. So the soldier and the systems can see what's going on, expand their horizon, expand their communication capabilities to work and operate with others. Somewhat of a tactical issue I would offer is to lighten up the soldier's physical and his cognitive workloads, so AI can make that a little bit easier, allow him or her to move quicker, and make faster decisions as well. Sustain the force and the civic infrastructure with increased distribution of supplies, throughput, and efficiencies. And lastly, important to the military and civic infrastructure as well, allow a level of protection that will allow us to sustain operations over long distances and long periods of time. Team, I would also offer up that we are working on the transition from teleoperation to autonomy, which will and already has required advances in artificial intelligence. Systems that can use sensors in the same ways that humans use their 5 senses to understand the world and simply operate. And in the military lens, we want soldiers to focus on their combat environment, not on the screen that they may be looking down at. And this will require leveraging artificial intelligence. A bit of a shift in the next slide, please. Robotics, I would offer up, team, when fully integrated into the force, will allow soldiers and leaders at any level to focus on the execution of the mission rather than the manipulation and direct task control of robots. This artificial intelligence will allow that seamless operation. Our next generation unmanned combat vehicles and aircraft will enable military forces to create multiple options for commanders and to rapidly task organize and fight differently and on different shifting mission variables. It was alluded to in some of the very earlier briefs. The standard fight of the future is going to be different, and we'll need soldiers that need to think differently, operate differently, enabled by technology, artificial intelligence, and robotics. And I would offer the same to firemen, EMS, policemen operating in a megacity. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomy will enable Army formations to increase their endurance in any environment, persistence, lethality, protection, and depth. And I would offer that military units and civilian agencies operating in dense urban terrain, enabled by artificial intelligence, and equipped with such things as small air systems, some of which were shown in some of the pictures before, ground robotics, and even perhaps waterborne or water-enabled robotics, will allow, coupled with artificial intelligence, will allow military and civic infrastructure, civic agencies to better operate in a very complex environment, whether that is by war or by some type of natural disaster, which has been the main topic for the day. And my next slide, please. Unique to what they were doing within the U.S. Army now, and specifically in the Maneuver Center of Excellence, a few months back in an association of the United States Army Artificial Intelligence Symposium, Our current commander of the Army Futures Command, General Murray, stated, and I will quote, "I want to bring artificial intelligence down to the soldier, the squad, the platoon, the company, and the battalion," end quote. And I would offer up that you could expand that to the operational level, strategic level as well, and share this with civil authorities also. And as was briefed during a recent visit to Fort Benning by delegates of the Japanese ground self-defense force early this year, we have begun planning and continue planning on a technology demonstration which we plan to execute this fall in September of 2020 at Fort Benning, that working with our partners will help demonstrate artificial intelligence that can be used at all levels, focus on the platoon in this case, to give us parity, if not complete overmatch with our adversaries as known at this time. And I acknowledge that my comments have focused at the tactical level of this, but again, you can see the application of operational, strategic, and the civilian agencies as well. And the end state is to allow those agencies and soldiers to significantly better observe, orient, decide, and detect 10 times faster than we do today. In our future environment, where the military, civilian, natural disasters, humanitarian assistance, or what have you, will demand just that, faster decision and faster execution. Industry, academia, and our defense and science technology community, as do yours, I'm sure, play a key role in making this vision a reality. And I have every confidence that we will both get there. Winning on the future battlefield, being able to defend against humanitarian disasters, however they may be caused. Our ability, this will require us to integrate artificial intelligence into our formations so that we can keep pace with the lethal, hyperactive battlefield of tomorrow that our militaries may face, and be prepared for the unknown disaster that Mother Nature or other humanitarian disasters may throw upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me an opportunity to address you today. It has indeed been my honor. I look forward to the rest of the conference. And Dr. Glenn, I think I brought you back some time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Time for a bit of a break. I would ask that everybody back here, please, at 15:15, 15 minutes after 3. Thank you.